When Dr. Aria Villan opened the classified human file, she expected strange data, but not a biological impossibility. According to every chart, humans should have destroyed their reproductive organs centuries ago. So when Earth suddenly sends its most dangerous soldier to assist her research, Arya realizes the truth is far bigger than stamina. Someone is killing entire species to make sure humanity's secret never gets out. Dr. Aria Velen had spent her entire career dismantling mysteries, biological puzzles from every corner of the Orion cluster, but nothing unsettled her like the glowing file hovering over her workstation. The human reproductive analysis shouldn't have been classified. Humans, after all, weren't rare. They weren't dangerous. They were simply confusing, exceptionally confusing. She leaned closer, silver hair brushing the edge of the hologram as she scrolled through the final page for the fifth time. Every graph told the same unbelievable story. Human males maintain full reproductive capability every single day without suffering any structural breakdown. No swelling, no fatigue markers, no internal tearing, no regeneration lag. It violated the biological laws of 17 known species. Her throat tightened with reluctant fascination. Either the humans were lying, or biology had missed something monumental. The Helix 14 Citadel hummed around her, its metallic ribs glowing faintly with the soft blue energy of the station's artificial dusk cycle. Normally, she found comfort in its predictable rhythm, the gentle pulse of machinery, the faint whisper of the circulation vents. But today it only amplified the tension rising in her chest. The door slid open before she could steady her breath. "Dr. Velen?" The Station A's calm voice spread through the room. "Earth's designated research representative has arrived. The human vessel is docking now." Her heart lurched. Already, she hadn't even finished debating whether the stamina data was an elaborate human prank. Arya stood quickly, smoothing her tunic even though it never wrinkled. She had prepared for this moment, prepared scripts, professional greetings, and emergency breathing routines, but every plan evaporated when she stepped into the docking chamber. A tall figure descended the ramp of the Earthship, armor catching the cobalt lighting like a blade. Commander Jackson Ward walked with the easy confidence of someone who had survived worse things than academic scrutiny. Broad-shouldered, scarred, and unmistakably human, he carried a faint smile as if the world's strangest assignment was entertaining rather than embarrassing. "Dr. Valen," he greeted, voice warm enough to melt station-grade steel. "I heard you wanted to know how humans avoid mechanical failure." Her cheeks burned instantly. "That phrasing was not in my research request," she managed. "Not in the message," Jackson agreed, stopping an arm's length away, "but definitely in your question." Before she could deny it, the station lights flickered. Once, then twice. A coded alarm rippled through the Citadel's floor panels. Jackson's expression sharpened. "Doctor, was your station expecting company?" Arya froze because the answer was no, and whoever had arrived wasn't here for diplomacy. The floor beneath Arya trembled again, subtle but unmistakable. Not an engineering glitch, not routine docking pressure. This was different, sharp, intentional. The kind of vibration caused by unauthorized ships forcing their way into restricted orbit. "AI," Arya said quickly. "Identify incoming vessels." A pause too long. Then, "Unable to determine. Signal interference detected." Jackson's jaw tightened, and for the first time she sensed the quiet danger before it appeared on his face. He stepped instinctively in front of her, uninvited protection that startled her more than the alarm itself. "Your station's mixing board is being jammed," he said. "Someone's covering their approach." "Impossible," she whispered. "Helix 14's perimeter field is already compromised," Jackson finished. The lights snapped to emergency red just as the blast doors slid down behind them, sealing with a heavy metallic lock. The AI's voice followed. "Section B-3 in full quarantine. All personnel remain in nearest secure rooms until cleared." Arya's pulse spiked. Quarantine protocols meant one thing: internal threat. She found herself suddenly very aware of the man standing beside her. A stranger, but a stranger who moved with controlled confidence, scanning the corridor like someone who had survived ambushes more times than he'd admit. Doctor, he said gently, we need to move. Now. She nodded, allowing him to guide her into the nearest lab. Her lab, the xenobiology suite. The doors sealed with a hiss behind them, and privacy fields activated automatically, wrapping the room in soft blue haze. Arya exhaled shakily. I didn't authorize this lockdown. You didn't have to, Jackson replied, checking the corners of the room. Whoever's coming wants something, or someone, badly enough to trigger your emergency protocols. He stopped, gaze landing on the holo display still open on her console. The human stamina charts hovered there, glowing like forbidden secrets. Jackson let out a low whistle. Ah, so that's what this is about, she bristled. My research is harmless. To you, maybe, he said. But if someone believes humans carry something valuable or dangerous, they won't risk letting you keep studying it. Arya stepped closer, her voice unsteady but resolute. Commander, I didn't request you to fight raiders or rogue factions. I only wanted scientific clarity. And you'll get it, he promised, eyes sharp. But first we survive this. Before Arya could answer, the station shuddered. Hard. A distant explosion rippled through the hull. The lights dimmed, Jackson turned toward the sealed door, hand moving instinctively toward his belt. Dr. Valen, he murmured, muscles tensing. Something just boarded your station. And this time she knew he wasn't exaggerating. The explosion faded into a low, vibrating hum that crawled up Arya's spine. Jackson barely flinched. He stepped toward the window, slid at the corner of the lab, keeping his voice calm and steady. Too steady. They've breached the outer ring, he said. That wasn't a warning shot. They're coming for a package. What package? Arya demanded. You, he answered without hesitation. Or me. Maybe both. Her throat tightened. Why would anyone target a reproductive stamina study? It's absurd. Jackson shot her a look, part sympathy, part caution. Doctor, humans have a reputation you don't know about. Arya stared at him. What reputation? He exhaled as if releasing a secret he'd hoped to avoid. Some species believe humans were engineered by ancient precursors. Not as warriors, not as scholars. He hesitated. As survivors, a species designed to rebuild populations after planetary catastrophes. She blinked. Designed? You think someone tampered with your evolution? I don't know what I think. He rubbed the back of his neck. But our regeneration rates, our stamina, our adaptability, it's not normal, not accidental. And that terrifies a lot of factions. Her breath hitched, including the ones attacking us now. Exactly. He moved toward her console, tapping the floating charts she'd been studying earlier. These numbers, this resilience, it's not just impressive, it's political dynamite. If humans really are capable of cross-species compatibility, he met her eyes. Some empires would see that as a threat to their bloodlines, their power structures. Arya's stomach dropped. But I'm a researcher. I only wanted answers. And someone out there doesn't want you finding them. Before she could respond, a soft metallic click echoed from the ventilation shaft. Jackson reacted instantly, pulling her behind a counter just as a small drone crawled out. Scanning the room with a slit of red light, Arya's breath froze. That's a purifier reconnaissance probe, she whispered. They target genetically altered species. Jackson's jaw clenched. Then we're on their list. The drone hovered, then jerked toward Arya's console, toward the human stamina file. It began downloading without hesitation. Oh, no you don't, Jackson muttered. He grabbed a surgical laser from the counter and flicked it on with a snap. One precise slash. The drone dropped in a shower of sparks. Silence reclaimed the room. Arya swallowed hard. You said they were targeting genetically modified species, but humans aren't altered. Jackson didn't answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. Doctor, I'm not so sure about that. Jackson barely had time to destroy the drone before the ventilation shaft above them let out another metallic groan. Arya's heart thudded painfully. If one probe had slipped through the Citadel's defense grid, more would follow. And the purifiers never sent reconnaissance without a strike team behind it. Doctor, we have to move, Jackson said, already crossing the room. They'll track the signal back to this lab within minutes. Arya forced her hands to stop shaking and gathered the encrypted datapad containing her research. The holograms vanished as she shut the system down. "This information didn't matter yesterday," she whispered. "Now it's worth killing for." "It matters because you proved something you weren't supposed to prove," Jackson said. "People fear what changes the balance of power." She didn't want to believe that, but the pounding of boots in the distant corridor silenced any denial. Arya froze. "They're here!" Jackson grabbed her wrist, not roughly but firmly, and guided her toward the emergency hatch at the back of the lab. The room shook again, dust drifting from the ceiling tiles. "They're breaching the main door," he muttered. "We go now." The hatch slid open, revealing a narrow maintenance shaft lit only by a flickering strip of amber light. Jackson climbed in first, then extended a hand to her. For someone supposedly engineered for survival, he still looked painfully human in that moment. Scarred, tense, and trying his best to stay calm for her sake. Arya followed him into the shaft, pulling the hatch shut behind them. The sounds outside dulled to a muffled thrum, but not enough to hide the approaching danger. "Where are we heading?" she whispered. "Central reactor spine," he replied. "It's the only place on this station with shielding strong enough to block purifier scanners." "And after that?" Jackson hesitated. "Depends on how alive we are when we get there." Arya managed a shaky breath that almost became a laugh. "Your optimism is strangely comforting." "Hey," he said over his shoulder, voice low. "If we die, at least your paper on human stamina will be legendary." That earned a real small smile from her, but the moment shattered when a new sound echoed through the shaft. Metal scraping metal. Too close, Arya's blood ran cold. "They're inside the ducts," she whispered. Jackson stopped, turned, and drew the surgical laser again. "Then let's make sure they regret it." He shifted in front of her, shielding her with his body just as red scanning lights flickered in the darkness behind them. The red scanning lights swept across the cramped metal walls, slicing through the darkness like thin blades. Arya pressed herself against the duct, breathing as quietly as she could. She felt Jackson's arm tense in front of her, protective, steady, unyielding, even in such a narrow space. The probes clattered closer. Jackson angled the surgical laser, whispering, "When I move, stay behind me. Don't argue." She didn't. There was no time. The first probe lunged through the shaft, metal legs scraping violently. Jackson fired, one sharp flash, and the machine dropped in a burst of sparks. But two more followed immediately, crawling over the smoking wreckage like metallic insects. Arya felt panic claw at her throat. "Jackson, there are too many." "Then we go down," he said. "Down where?" He didn't answer. Instead, he kicked open the floor grate beneath them. The metal screeched, giving way to a vertical access tunnel, disappearing into the station's lower structure. "Jump," he ordered. She stared at him. "That's a 30-meter drop." He met her eyes. "Do you trust me?" It was ridiculous. She had known him for hours, not weeks, but something in the steadiness of his gaze anchored her. Arya climbed through the opening and let herself fall. Warm arms caught her halfway down. Anti-grav stabilizers buzzed weakly around Jackson's boots as he slowed their descent, just enough to keep them from shattering on impact. They hit the floor hard, but alive, Arya staggered, clutching his arm for balance. "You're insane," she breathed. "Statistically, yes," he said. "But it worked." Before she could reply, the walls around them flickered with an eerie golden glow, lines of ancient script. Nothing she recognized lit up like veins beneath the metal. "What is this place?" she whispered. Jackson stepped forward slowly. "Not part of your station." Arya's breath caught as the floor shifted, revealing a circular platform rising from below. In its center stood a crystalline pillar, pulsing, almost alive. She reached out instinctively, her telepathic senses flaring. The pillar responded with a sharp burst of memory, images of an ancient species, colossal machines, and a blueprint of humanity itself. Her knees nearly buckled. "Jackson, this is architect technology." He stiffened. "The species rumored to have engineered us?" "Yes," she whispered, "and it just reacted to you." The pillar brightened, scanning him, recognizing him. A soft hum filled the chamber. Like a heartbeat awakening after centuries, Jackson swallowed hard. "Doctor?" Whatever we think this is, it's bigger, much bigger. Arya stepped beside him, the gold light painting their faces. Then we find out together, she said, because the galaxy won't let us walk away from this. And neither of them doubted it now. This wasn't only about human stamina anymore. It was about a truth powerful enough to rewrite evolution itself.